Thank you for joining us today at the Chai Academy. If you're new to this, then this is daily classes about 4 times a week where we discuss different issues of Jewish interest. And today, the topic that we've been discussing lately is Jewish ethics and beliefs. If you are not new to this, then welcome back. So today's topic is the concept that's brought down in the Mishnah, that whoever saves a single life saves an entire world. Let me say that again. Whoever saves a single life saves an entire world. So that is taken directly from the Mishnah. The Mishnah was codified. Forget about written. It was codified over 2,000 years ago. It's probably written 2,500 years ago. And it's interesting. Recently, in the New York Times, there was an article written by a Muslim individual, and he says, let me quote the Quran: "Whoever saves a single life." So it's true. It's in the Quran as well, but the origin, and it's not plagiarism because it's an ethic. Can't plagiarize an ethic. It is there, but the Mishnah was the first code that mentioned it. Now, the context of where in the Talmud is mentioned is actually in a negative sense, because whoever saves a single life saves an entire world is very positive, but the origin, the source in the Talmud that talks about it is essentially there are in Judaism as well as here, you have to circumstantial evidence in Judaism is not enough. If you want someone to have corporal or capital punishment, then you need 2 witnesses. These witnesses cannot be related to one another. These witnesses cannot be related to each other, or to any of the defendant and the plaintiff, or anybody involved in the case, the judge, etc. So you cannot bring a family member as a witness, pro or against. These witnesses have to have actually seen the act, or have a document, etc., that was signed by the individual. Just hearsay, like the American courts, hearsay is hearsay. It's not acceptable. But in addition to hearsay not being acceptable, there is also the concept of non-circumstantial evidence. It cannot be circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is, if it's snow outside, we assume it must have snowed. That's no. And this is a silly metaphor, silly analogy, because nobody gets punished because of snow. But if it's a murder, they have to have witnessed the murder, not seeing a guy running with a knife. That would not be acceptable in the eyes of Torah. So basically, the case in the Talmud where it mentions this, whoever saves a single life saves an entire world, is the judge's admonition to these witnesses who witnessed a case that it will either be corporal or capital punishment. And the judge, basically, it's a certain formula that the judge tells the witnesses. Aside from telling them that if you tell a lie, it's perjury, in addition, the judge tells them that whoever saves a single life saves an entire world. And respectively, whoever destroys a single life destroys a single world. Whoever destroys a single life destroys an entire world. This is the actual words that the judge has to use to the witnesses who there's big stakes here. There's someone is either going to die or they're going to get caned, whipped, lashes. So it's at stake. It's huge, and therefore, the judge does say this comment. So and I'm not sure if you know, by the way, if these two witnesses, this is a Torah command, if these two witnesses give false testimony, and it is found out that it's false testimony, whatever was going to be done to the defendant is now done to them. So if lashes were going to be mitigated to the defendant, now lashes will be given to the witnesses. Death will be given to the witnesses if they dare to come to court and perjure themselves. So that's part of the formula. So that's where we learn it from. That's the original source. If you save a single life, you save an entire world. And by the way, the philosophy or the ideas are: you save a single life, that person is going to, please God, be the saved person is going to grow up, get married, have children, and the children are going to have children, and the children are going to have many children, many offspring, until it's an entire world, from this person, and that's what the Talmud goes on to say. The judge tells the witnesses that the reason why God created Adam, he didn't create instantly 30 people, 300 people, 1,000 people, 1 billion people. He didn't do that. He created Adam as a single individual to teach us that we all come from that individual. So therefore, ergo, if you kill one person, if you destroy one person, you've destroyed an entire world. So think about the Nazis, how many worlds they destroyed. Right? They didn't just kill the 6 million. They destroyed 6 million offspring. Think about it. Who then, many, 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 many more, etc., until infinity, to be honest. So that is exactly what the judge tells these witnesses. The rabbis continue in the Talmud, and they talk about the reason why God created Adam as a single individual. In addition to realize, if you save a single life, you're saving an entire world. If you destroy a single life, you're destroying an entire world. And it's fascinating because the rabbis say that it creates peace, and it's a cure for arrogance. Nobody can say that their blood is redder. Nobody can say that my ancestry is greater than your ancestry. It's my pedigree is better than your pedigree. My father is better than your father. My mother is better than your father. You can't say that because we all stem from the same person. So if God would have made a multitude of people who all will be having kids at the same time, then you can say, oh, no, there's a pedigree. There's, the Addams family, pardon the pun, is much greater than the Levy family or the Cohen family or the McDuffie family. And so it is not so the case. We all come from the same common ancestor who is Adam. And yes, we believe that we all come from a common man, and we do not evolve from man. We do not evolve from an animal that was that came from that. We believe in evolution, but we also believe creationism. God created man, right? And the rabbis in the Talmud, they say it further, right? That it also, if you think about it, the greatness of God, and it says that when we cast a coin, when we strike a coin, when we mold a coin, so we take the quarter, and we then take it to the mint, and they strike it, and they mold it, and then they produce coins. Each coin is exactly alike. For that year, for that run, the 150,000 coins or the million coins they produce, however many they produce, I have no idea. Probably it's a Google statistic. It's all exactly the same coin. But however, God's greatness is that from the time of Adam, God didn't just mass produce. Every single person is different. Every single person is unique. Every single person has a unique DNA, has a unique fingerprint, has a unique iris, has a unique mission. That is the greatness of God. So we 600,000 general souls, which go into what is referring to. There are 600,000 general souls, but there are an unlimited, infinite amount of souls, right? And I forget what they say with DNA, that it's 1 billion to 1 or something. And fingerprints, and I have no idea fingerprints and how many, but each person is unique. That's the bottom line. Right? Each person is unique, and if you think about it, it's amazing. Somebody needs a kidney, so you go to a kidney bank, and you're on this list, and you could be on this list for years. Because in order to find a compatible match where there will not be organ rejection, is just the sheer amount of tests, and sometimes you may never find. So that is why God created one person. From that one person, think what came out of that one person. Just think the differences that each and every one of us have. And yes, it's true that there are some that look like one another. There are something that we call doppelgangers. But however, the fingerprints are not the same. I have news for you. Even identical twins, because I have identical twins, their fingerprints are not the same. Right? And their irises are not the same. These are identical twins, born the same, the same sack, right? So, by the way, is it any better today? Is the stopping and starting any better, or is it still? Because I've kind of done everything that I know what to do, including new hardware, etc. So that is why. So it's just an incredible thing, right? That was so vastly different. If anybody has any suggestions about what to do while you're watching, and you have, and you have this issue, what to do? What's a quick fix on your end? I'm still working on it on my end. But then please comment here. Now it's interesting that there's two versions of this Mishnah. Two versions. One version of the Mishnah that says, whoever saves a single Jewish life is if you save an entire world. Whereas another version, which is the version Maimonides has, was whoever saves a life, a single life. So it's interesting. There are these two versions, and what is the halacha? What is the Jewish law? So the Jewish law is any life, and it's not just being politically correct. It's not just being politically correct. It's a bottom line. The Jewish law is very technical. If you have the ability to save somebody's life, you have to go to the end of the world. You cannot put your own life in danger. They discussed that in the Talmud, by the way. They discussed that. It was a discussion between different opinions, but they came with the conclusion that it cannot be at the expense of your own life. But it doesn't matter if it's Jew, Muslim, Christian, atheist, Hindu, Buddhist. It doesn't matter. If it's a human being, you have the obligation to save their life. No hierarchy. That is the bottom line, practical Jewish law. Now, this whole, and so therefore it has significance halachically. It is a very practical Jewish law, very, very practical. So now let me give you another scenario of very, very practical. So there is this fellow that essentially he's running for his life. There's somebody after the mob. I don't know if it's the Italian mob, the Russian mob, the Israeli mob, the Slovakian mob. A mob is after him. And he comes running into your synagogue. Into a police station. Into a town hall. To your house. And he says, please, they're after me, hide me. And you do, you hide him. But then, the mob hires a tracker, and the tracker says he went to this town. So they go into the town hall, and they say to the mayor, give up the person. And the mayor says, no, I'm not giving up the person. You're a group of thugs, and you're just a band of evil people. And no, I'm not giving up the person. So you can lynch him, you can kill him, because of some supposed, offense. No, I'm not giving him up. Did he murder anybody? Did he rape anybody? Was he a pedophile? Well, so he insulted the Don. I'm not giving him up. But then they issue this threat. If you don't give him up, 10 people will die, 20 people will die, 30 people will die. We will take 10 innocent lives, 20, whatever the number is, doesn't matter, and we will kill them. We will kill them. So the halacha is that we're not allowed to give him up. You're not allowed to. Because the rationale is that whoever saves a single life, because of the concept of that it's infinity, who knows what's going to come from this person? So you can't give him up because of infinity. It's infinity equaling infinity. And therefore, you cannot You cannot give him up. You cannot trade. You're not allowed to trade this person. Yeah, you saved the life. Oh, you can't. You're not just not allowed to. You have to fight them, fight the thugs, and this always comes up in Israel. It always comes up in Israel. The terrorists say, if you don't give up these terrorists, we're going to kill the soldier we kidnapped, the individual we kidnapped. Now, if Hamas, ISIS asked to give up, the accountant for the Hamas, give him up, and there's no dilemma. If they ask you, to give up, the wife who was, was an accomplice, but she's not a murderer, then give him up. But if they ask you to give up murderers, who, by the way, it's proven, recidivism rate is very high in Israel. You give up a terrorist, they go back to terror, and they kill more people. And so, it's the most difficult, it's probably the most difficult thing to do, is do I give up 10 or 11 terrorists and save Gilad Shalit? What do I do? And by the way, most of the world, most of the free world have a thing. We do not negotiate with terrorists, and that's the correct approach, actually. But what do? Gilad Shalit's life is at stake. So actually, the day they gave him up, the day they gave terrorists up in order to save Gilad Shalit's life, part of me was so happy. And at exactly the same time, I was mourning. I was in mourning over the loss of future lives that would be sacrificed because of Gilad Shalit. There's no good answer. But the halacha says you can't do the trade. God forbid we should ever be put in that position. So you don't, right? Because everybody isn't infinite, and you cannot just treat life flippantly and treat life as just, you can't do that. Now, taking it a step further, that because rape halachically is akin to murder according to Jewish law, at the moment where you come across this rapist and he's raping a woman, you're allowed to kill him to save an innocent victim from murder. If you see, and that's the halacha, if you see somebody about to take a gun and shoot an innocent person, you're allowed to shoot him. So if they're raping, you're allowed to kill them. If they're, murdering, killing, right, they're considered a rodef, and you are allowed to kill them. And because you're saving a life, and this person is at that time, the moment of rape, or the moment he's about to kill, he's taking a life, and you're allowed to take his life. So it adds a lot to the hopper here. And this is the same reason I'm opening up a Pandora's box. This is the same reason. If a woman was raped and she is impregnated by this rapist, it's not really the same reason. You are allowed to abort the baby, the fetus. You're allowed to, right? You're allowed to because this baby's a rodef. Right? This baby's a rodef. This baby is this rapist, and it's going to destroy the woman's life. It's already destroyed. You want it to be further destroyed so you can abort the baby. Abortion is not taken lightly in Judaism. It's just not. Just absolutely not taken lightly. Likewise, if this baby is going to be the death of this mother, not talking about a rapist situation, is going to be the death of this mother, you're allowed to abort the baby. Because it's also halachically a rodef. It's a murderer. So it's generally speaking, Judaism does not allow for abortions. They're more liberal than the Catholic Church, because if a woman if it's going to destroy the woman's life mentally, physically, emotionally, you're allowed to abort. If it's just an inconvenience, then you're not allowed to abort. In others, if the woman can live with it, she was with a husband, they weren't ready to get pregnant, and they got pregnant, and then you can't abort the baby. That's the eyes of in the eyes of Jewish law. Don't shoot the messenger. But each case has to be judged case by case, because there's ramifications here. Going back, we have to do our utmost to save a person's life. So if they're homeless and they're going to freeze to death, you got to do the best of your ability to get them into a warm. Somebody called me today and said they just got evicted, and they have a place to stay, but it's going to cost them $100 a week. Will I take on a week? And I said yes. I mean, I don't want to sleep on the outside. And then I said I'll do it now because it's an emergency, but you have to get hold of social services and you have to get yourself a place. But you have to do your best to save a life, and whoever saves a life saves a world. So Judaism is super, super sensitive to helping somebody out, to making sure that they can live yet another day. God bless. Enjoy it. We will reconvene tomorrow at this time. Be well.